My name is Deisha Barnett. My title is Mother and Friend, proud CAU alumna. At work, I am the President of Communications and Content Strategy for UPS. I'll tell you the thing that came to mind for me, and I don't want to make this like a pity party by any stretch of the imagination, but when we were driving from New Jersey to Atlanta, my freshman year, you know, the trip, you know, your move day, your move-in trip to get to your move-in day. On that drive, so it's about a 14-hour drive from New Jersey to Atlanta, where I lived in New Jersey to Atlanta. And so we drove a couple hours, we stopped in Maryland at my cousin's house to pick my cousin up. In between, you know, getting to Maryland, a couple hours of a nap, going back to the car, someone had broken into my mom's car and they stole all my stuff. Of course, I was upset, crying, distraught. I told my mom I didn't want to go, you know, the whole thing. And she said, you know, get back in the car and we're going to go the rest of the way to Atlanta and it will be fine. And so when I think about the most memorable moment, the thing that came to mind for me was pulling up to Holmes Hall. I was so sad. I had nothing to take in there, but here I go, you know, having to walk into this dorm and go and meet all these girls, meet my roommate for the first time, and I had nothing. And when I opened the door to my room, my roommate Natalie was already in there. Natalie from Daytona Beach, right? Like she was already in the room. And as soon as I opened the door, I said, "Girl, you will never guess what happened to me." And I had never met her before, right? And so I told her what happened to me, and she gave me a big hug. And it was like from that very moment, this spark of community just went off, right? It was a friend who cared. And then I met more of those friends who cared and who looked out for me when I had nothing, very literally, the clothes on my back. Coming to CAU as a freshman in school. And that's been the story. That's been my story about CAU from that very moment to this day. I like to tell people if I just sneeze really loud, CAU friends are going to be like, "Good sneeze, Deisha." They root for me and have my back, and I root for them and I have their back. And it's just so much love. It gives me the push that I need on many days. When I think about my professional journey, I gotta say, it started when I was still in school, right? So we know that internships are so very important. And so I was a mass comm major with a concentration in public relations, and I had my first public relations internship on CAU's campus in the Office of University Relations, where the late Tony Mosley was the head of university relations. I got to know Curtis, who is still the school's photographer. That's where my professional journey began, right there on campus. By the time I was a junior at Clark Atlanta, I had had so much great exposure to professionals who had come in to talk to students, and I had wonderful mentorship from Brenda J. Wright, who was an amazing professor in mass comm who taught the large majority of our public relations courses. Before school wrapped up that junior year, Kanata Herring, who was a CAU alum, had come to talk to my class, and she was at the time a rising star at Ketchum Public Relations. I followed up with Kanata. She gave us her contact information, and I said, "Hey, you mentioned an internship, how do I apply?" I ended up applying. I went through the whole interview process, and I got that internship. And so I stayed in Atlanta the summer before my senior year, and just had an amazing time learning and growing under some of the industry's best. I ended up staying on with Ketchum throughout my senior year, and then I was hired there right after graduation as an account coordinator, and I was ready to go. And from there, I decided to go work for Earthlink. So again, throwback. dial-up internet service provider. Earthlink was the second largest dial-up internet service provider in its day. And I took a job in Bentonville, Arkansas, working in Walmart's global headquarters. And then we moved back to Atlanta. And I ended up working for the Metro Atlanta Chamber for a handful of years, leading marketing communications. And here I am now at UPS. I've been here for a year, and we're having a good time. To have alumni acknowledge, and I guess at the end of the day, to say that something I'm doing, you know, in this world is a wonderful representation of what it means to be a CAU Panther. Oh my gosh, like that just blows my mind. I certainly am a very proud product of Clark Atlanta University, very, very proudly. When I think about just my life, you know, my husband was a freshman with me at Clark Atlanta University. We were married on the stairs of Harkness Hall, married by a CAU alum. We are raising what I call these CAU babies. Clark Atlanta means so much to me. And so for someone to say that you mean a lot to Clark Atlanta is, it's an honor, and it makes me so happy. You know, I can't begin to express what it means.